front of the field being very careful. Nobody in contest right now. Richie Hearn is the leader here in Las Vegas. Well, and just as we come back to you, Stan Waddles catches the wall, slides across the start-finish line, and to a stop just beyond the start-finish, the 30 car, the Spirit of San Antonio there. And that slows the field again. Richie Hearn was the leader. During the time we were away, no one was in challenge at the front of the field at all. So they'll go to yellow with Richie Hearn as the lead, then Robbie Gordon and Michele Alboreto, the top three. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, it's become an all too familiar path over here to the medical center. Ari Leyendyk, the last man to walk out. Now, Ari, we're a little bit in the dark as to what happened. Can you enlighten us?
Well, everything was going, smooth. The car was pushing really bad, but I was just holding my own. But I had a little bit of a vibration in the car, and I said to the crew that I was really wearing out my front tires because the car was pushing so bad. And the vibration that I thought that came from that might have been something in the rear, because going into turn one, something just let go in the rear. It was either the right rear bearing, drive shaft, or the tire blew. But I'm not sure if it's the right rear bearing or the tire, but something just let go, and from then on I was a passenger. But I was very fortunate to hit the way I did and to be able to just to get out of the car and come out of there without a scratch. So.
How about the wind conditions today? How much of a factor has that been? Because I don't think it's been this windy all weekend in practice or qualifying.
No, this is really windy out here. It really affects the cars. The cars are moving around a lot. A lot of people are having trouble with push coming off of turn 4 because the wind pushes you out towards that. And probably a good idea would be to start this race at 10 in the morning, because in the afternoon the winds always pick up here, and today is an example of that.
Thank you, Ari.
Okay, thanks.
Well, our sixth yellow of the day as they work with Stan Waddles. The USAC safety crew, I'm sure, working a great deal more than they would like to today. We'll look at that. Here it is from a camera on top of the wall, turn 4. Whoa, just straight up. Hard hit.
Right front tire had to let go on that.
Broke our camera.
Huh? Broke our camera. That's the worst thing of all, I
More
guess.
important that he's not hurt.
But if you notice, as he was going through the turn, that's in the trioval where we're sitting, and obviously something on the right front just let go.
Bobby, it looks like almost the car moves a little bit at the back, and he kind of corrects it and gets up in the gray. Just watch the back. Watch in here. He sees, looks like he slides just a hair there and just gets up in the gray, and he can't do anything then.
And he had just started from the bottom. It just didn't have any adhesion from the white line out. There's something on the right front just wasn't holding there.
And once you get up into that gray, that's all you can do.
There's nothing.
You're just a passenger, as Ari Leyendyk said.
The collar that they put on the driver's neck generally is precautionary before they take him out of the car. 126 laps complete. We're under the 6th caution of the day. We'll be back.
Indy Racing League at Las Vegas. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by True Value, official hardware store of IRL and garages everywhere. The Nicoderm CQ patch. You bring a commitment. Nicoderm CQ brings the rest. And Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers.
Well, the yellow is still out, a sight that we have seen far too often today. They still work at the car very carefully to get Stan Waddles out of the car. And they're going to put him on the backboard. They always do that. In fact, it's a specially designed backboard, doing some cutting over on the right side of the car so that he will clear away quite freely. And that backboard was designed at the Speedway, as a matter of fact, to try and help get it down behind the driver and allow him to come straight up out of the car without any further injury. Remember the old days of racing? Bobby, you probably remember when they used to just run over the car, grab you, and yank you out of the car, and if your leg wasn't broken, it sure was when you,
That's
you
right.
hit the dash coming out.
Something came out of the car, unfortunately not everything.
And, of course, many of these guys are the same crews that work at the Indianapolis 500 with extensive experience. Jack Gilmore, Bill Nolan, they've been working for years on this. Well, Richie Hearn is the leader. We've had a lot of long yellows today, Jack.
Well, Paul, remember when Gary was talking to Ari Leyendyk, he talked about the wind. You can see it's picked up pretty significantly down here. It's interesting that what was happening to Richie Hearn is when they got out in clear air, they would upshift to the 6th gear. Now, normally that's what we call the cruising gear. Well, it would create problems in the wind. So he was talking back and forth during this caution saying, I don't feel real comfortable in the 6th gear because it seems to affect the wind. It seems to exacerbate it, make it worse. They said, well, if you have to, go back to 5th and run in 5th. Likewise for Robbie Gordon, initially in the beginning of this race, he was always complaining about a little bit of a loose condition. The wind has changed down here almost 180 degrees. Now all of a sudden Robbie Gordon is saying, I'm a little pushy. The light bulb went on in his head and he said, you know what? I bet you it's the wind.
It's amazing how at the kind of speeds they're running well above 200 miles an hour, how the wind in fact does affect the car. Bobby Unser and Danny Sullivan have said it many a time. They are still working with Stan Waddell's car, and as we've already indicated to you, this is the 6th caution of the day, and so now we run head-on with one of those problems of network television. Look at them using the jaws of light. Of course, they don't care anymore, do they?
Well, the car's destroyed, so what they're really trying to do is look after the safety of the driver. They want to get him out of there as easy as they can, so sometimes it's better just to cut a piece of the car away or cut it open up so they can just pull him out easily.
But the problem that this unfortunately creates for us, and I got to tell you, we feel terrible about this, is we are running out of time. In just a few minutes, we are going to have to go off the air and leave this race. We're going to give you the running order after 129 laps. Don't throw that at the TV just yet. And we will come back during World News Sunday. We will give you the results of the race. Also, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network with Bob Jenkins is here, and if you can tune over to radio, they can help you. If you have a computer, the website is brickyard.com, and they have the scoring up there. I can't tell you how badly we feel and how much we apologize, but the race was projected to be over right about this time, and it still has 69 laps to go. So even with a lot of room allotted for it, we do have to honor obligations to network affiliates, their local news operations, and we do feel badly.
One other thing I just want to mention, Paul, when we go by and we see what looks like an empty grandstand up there, it's not empty. It's a brand new grandstand that hasn't been finished yet. The rest of it, just look at the awesome crowd.
Yeah, something should be said for this facility here. It is marvelous. When they're done, it'll probably be over $200 million to build. It is not nearly complete. What you're looking at is just part of it. That crowd, by the way, is estimated at 60,000 people. There's a drag strip here. There is, you name a form of racing, and they've got a race course here. And beautiful, beautiful facilities. Richie Klein and the gang done a marvelous job putting this thing together. And then added to all that, in this week they've been building the track literally as we've been working, and Kevin Forbes of the Indianapolis Speedway has done a marvelous job helping us get a broadcast booth here. Too bad we can't use it to the end. And aided by our own crew of Bob Simon, Rick Okulski, and Bob Schless, Jim Licata, all doing above and beyond to make sure that this facility was here and ready for broadcast as well as ready for a crowd. We hope Stan Waddell's report is okay. We hope that this race goes without yellow to the end, but it has been an interesting track to watch racing on, very wide, allowing for a lot of grooves.
They've been doing some great racing here, a lot of passing. Unfortunately, we've had 6 yellows.
It's been a good race, though, and it's going to be a good race for a lot of the fans. It's just sad that we can't do it with TV.
So there is Richie Hearn driving for John Della Penna, who may be seeing his first day in victory, but with the 68 laps to go, the guys behind him like Robbie Gordon and Michele Alboreto, who, remember, won here in the Formula One, his first Formula One, and Scott Sharp and Michel Jourdain. Be sure to stay tuned. We will give you an update during ABC World News Sunday.
Good evening. Residents in the northeast part of the valley have been accustomed to hearing roaring engines for years, but fighter jets from Nellis weren't the ones making noise today. Instead, it was the Indy cars who are ringing people's eardrums, the first ever Las Vegas 500K.
Those cars. There's your front row. Ari Lyondike on the pole.
Shortly after 1 p.m., racing history in the valley was made as the green flag dropped for the start of the Las Vegas 500K. Ari Lyondike blasted ahead of the field early, establishing the type of pace that most expected. Fast.
Gordon is getting a little bit of a draft.
But just 9 laps into the race, Johnny Parsons slides into the wall on turn 4. But it would be turns 1 and 2 that would provide the most action during the day. around lap 29. A 3-car pileup sends Brad Murphy to the hospital with a broken hip.
Whoa, car into the wall. 2 of them, big hit.
Just 30 laps into the race, 4 drivers were already watching from the pits, but really race teams weren't surprised about the early outings.
Every race is different. This is a great place to be racing at. It's very dusty, unfortunately, so if you get offline, it gets a bit slippery, but not at all. This is racing. This is the most difficult racing in the world, and that's part of the game.
The racing continued with the likes of Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Lyondike keeping ahead of the pack. But then Stewart crashed into the wall, and moments later, Lyondike followed.
But Ari Lyondike from second out of the run. And again, the yellow flies here. Richie Hearn, the leader.
Shortly after the wreck, Ari blamed not the track, but instead the conditions.
Probably a good idea would be to start this race at 10 in the morning, because in the afternoon the winds always pick up here, and today is an example of that.
The winds continued to create havoc on the track, shattering the pace of the race with wrecks after wrecks after wrecks, until finally the race itself had to be stopped.
Red flag, red flag.
After a brief delay, they restarted the race, and at last, after 9 cautions, Richie Hearn puts the pedal to the metal and outlasts the rest of the field to capture the checkered
Victory
flag.
for John Della Penna. Michelle Jourdain comes home in second. Mike Groff is...
Well, of course, today was a racing first for Las Vegas. News 13's Ron Futrell has been at the track all week long. And Ron, first off, your thoughts on the race?
Well, Mario, first of all, 67,000 fans out here watching this race, an incredible crowd, an incredible event. Certainly it was tough and rough out there at times for some of the drivers. Tony Stewart admitted to UMC it looks like a broken collarbone. Brad Murphy admitted to UMC with a broken femur. At the UMC Trauma Center, Stan Waddles, Mark Dismore, and Johnny O'Connell looks like they're going to be okay. 2 of those drivers are going to get CAT scans and see what they're like. Johnny O'Connell was the incredible thing. He went over on the top right in the main stretch. He was okay. Didn't have to be treated. He was just released. Joining us now, the winner of the race, Richie Hearn. Congratulations on winning this thing out there. It was tough out there, wasn't it, at times for you guys?
Yeah, it was quite a battlefield. Unfortunately, we had a good car. We stayed out of the trouble. A little luck on our side, but man, there were flying debris all over the place.
How did it feel to win this thing? Now, you did real well. You had 2:22 when we were back here during the testing session in July. You know this track.
Well, it feels really good. It's a team effort, and all year long we've run strong. But we haven't quite put it together at the end, and it really feels good to end the 96th year on a high note like this.
Team owner is also here, John De La Pena. If you can go ahead and step in for a moment here. You got to be excited about this guy winning this race, your final race in the IRL.
Yeah, we won at least a race every year we've been together, and I was a little concerned about this year we'd go out without a win, but we pulled it off. It's great.
Any chance, Richie, you'll be coming back here racing in the future, perhaps with kart, now that you're going into that series?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see me back. It's it's an incredible facility, and I don't think any driver is complete without racing here.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Congratulations. You mentioned a team effort. You guys did it today.
Thank you.
All right, Mario, back to you in the studio. Great day out here for racing.
All right, Ron, thank you very much.